Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to break down complex ideas and give you knowledge you can actually use. Today, we're tackling something, well, it seems basic, but it's surprisingly intricate. How social connections actually start, like the blueprint.
Exactly. We're diving into this structured guide. It's basically a scene, a full script, showing how two people, Jack and Maria, meet cold in a cafe. Our mission today is to really unpack the mechanics of it, the steps, the phrases, the thinking behind how you go from total strangers to, actual acquaintances.
Yeah, this isn't just reading dialogue. It's about looking at the engineering behind it. It turns out even these really casual meetings, they tend to follow this efficient, almost architectural pattern. It seems designed to, minimize risk.
Minimize risk and maximize the chance for rapport. That's it. And what's really striking is how predictable these successful interactions can be. This source material, it lays out the whole structure. It shows that moving from, let's say, stranger danger to a comfortable chat involves this managed sequence, like a series of low-stakes tests.
Okay, let's get into it then, starting right at the beginning, gaining entry. The very first step. Jack needs to sort of establish his presence, right, without seeming pushy. In the guide's example, he walks up to Maria and just says, "Hi, is this seat free?"
And that line, "Is this seat free?" It sounds so simple, but it's doing a lot of work. It's the essential opening move. Think of it like a social insurance policy. Asking permission does two key things straight away. First, it shows he has a clear, legitimate reason for talking to her. He needs the seat. And second, it acknowledges her space, her sort of temporary territory. It shows respect.
Right, it's like a preemptive de-escalation. If he just plunked himself down, it could start off feeling awkward, maybe even annoying. But the source really stresses that this polite framing, it sets a positive tone for everything that follows.
Spot on. It's social risk management 101. The guide gives other options too, like, is anyone sitting here? Or can I sit here? The key is that it's always a question. It gives the other person the power to say yes. And Maria's reply, "Go ahead," confirms that acceptance. It sets this cooperative stage. They've passed hurdle number one, just the basic transaction.
Okay, so the functional part is done. He has the seat, all right? The danger is just silence, right? Sitting next to someone you just spoke to, but with nothing else to say.
Yeah.
So this brings us to what the source calls the crucial pivot, the transition to small talk.
Yeah, and this transition needs to happen fast. Jack nails it, according to the guide.
Yeah.
He shifts immediately from the seat request to a shared observation. He says, "It's really busy today, isn't it?" He's using the immediate environment.
Okay, hold on. Why the environment? Why is that the standard move? We always hear talk about the weather or whatever, but why not, I don't know, compliment her scarf or ask something subjective?
That's where the source gets interesting. It suggests that objective shared reality is just better. It's much lower risk than something subjective. When Jack says the cafe is busy, Maria doesn't have to form a complex opinion or defend a personal taste. She can just agree because it is busy. It's easily verifiable. It establishes what you could call co-presence. This sense that, okay, we're both experiencing the same thing right now.
So small talk isn't just random friendly chat. It's a strategic use of shared objective context. That makes sense.
The guide is specific here too, right? It lists three good themes: the weather, the place itself, like the busyness or what you're doing right now, like waiting for coffee. They're all low stakes, easy to agree on.
Precisely. And Maria confirms his observation. Yes, it is. I come here often, but it's never this full. See, she agrees, and then adds just a tiny bit of personal info. She knows the place. And that's where the script starts to move just beyond general comments into sharing little bits of personal data. I like that breakdown. It explains why talking about the weather actually works. It's not just filler. It guarantees easy agreement and lowers defenses.
Okay. So they've established the shared reality of the busy cafe. Now the guide shows the next gear shift, moving into preferences and proximity, testing the waters for actual shared interests.
Right. And they do it smoothly, moving from the place to the product. Jack kicks it off by stating a simple preference. I like their coffee. It's really good.
Yeah, and that's a perfect setup for what psychologists call the reciprocity principle. Jack offers a small piece of personal info, his preference. Maria then uses that opening to ask for more detail, his specific order. And then, crucially, she reciprocates. She shares her own preference, a cappuccino.
And Jack plays along, describes his Americano simple and strong. So now they're not just talking about the cafe, they're sharing personal tastes related to a shared activity, drinking coffee. That feels like a significant step up from just agreeing the place is crowded.
It is. And this shared interest, the coffee, creates the foundation for the next logical step in the structure. Checking for proximity. Maria asks the next question. So, Do you live nearby?
Wait, okay. Why ask about location now? Before they've even introduced themselves properly, doesn't that feel a bit out of order? Maybe slightly too personal too soon?
It's a good question. It challenges the sequence a bit. But the source guide suggests this order works because they're still in a low-stakes mode. Finding out they live close by 5 minutes away or in the next street establishes this tangible, non-threatening common ground. They might be neighbors. They're connecting based on practical, objective facts before they commit to the personal act of exchanging names. You could see it as escalation of commitment, maybe? Small agreements, busy cafe, good coffee, same neighborhood, pave the way for the bigger step.
Ah, okay, that clicks. So the introduction then feels earned almost. It formalizes the connection they've just spent a few minutes building. They've lowered the barriers enough that exchanging names doesn't feel like a cold ask anymore.
Exactly. Which brings us right to that formalizing step. Jack says, "By the way, I'm Jack." Simple, direct, and Maria responds in kind, "I'm Maria. Nice to meet you, Jack."
And that reciprocal, "nice to meet you too, Maria," seals the deal. The guide points out, yeah, it's simple, but that phrase signals social competence. It officially turns them from two strangers at a table into two people who now, know each other.
It's the verbal handshake, pretty much. But we can't just look at the words on the page. The guide also includes these crucial golden rules or quick tips. These tips are about the delivery. How effectively does the script actually land? It depends on more than just saying the right phrases.
Right, so we have the script, the lines, but without the right vibe, I guess, they could fall flat. The guide stresses 4 key soft skills. Let's maybe unpack why these basics are so essential to the architecture.
Okay, take the first one. Smile. Sounds incredibly basic, right? But physiologically, a genuine smile reduces tension. It signals approachability, safety. If Jack asked about the seat looking grumpy or stressed, even the polite words might not work. The smile validates the low-risk intention behind the words.
Makes sense. The second rule. Ask simple questions. We saw Maria do this, asking about the coffee, the location. These aren't deep philosophical questions. They're like tools for gathering small bits of info, right? And they prompt the other person to share, keeping that back and forth going.
Third, and this is huge, listen carefully. This is what makes it a real conversation, not just two people reciting lines. When Maria says she comes here often, Jack needs to actually hear that and process it. Maybe use it later. Listening provides the fuel for the next conversational move. If you don't listen, it just stalls.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fourth rule, say something nice. The guide suggests specific phrases like, "that's interesting," or "I like that too."
This isn't just being polite, is it? It's like positive reinforcement. That's a great way to put it. Affirmation. It makes the exchange feel rewarding. Every time Maria shares something and Jack responds positively, he's reinforcing her sharing. It encourages her to keep contributing. It basically signals, hey, what you're saying has value. Keep going.
Okay, and before we wrap up, there was one really practical tip in the guide. For when things go slightly wrong, like you forget a word mid-sentence, the suggested phrase is, "Sorry, what's the word for?"
Yeah, that's a brilliant little tool. Because
Yeah.
it shows vulnerability, but in a really low-stakes way. You're not revealing some deep secret. It just pauses things gently and implicitly asks for help, which actually reinforces that cooperative feeling they started building with the polite opening. It adds a necessary touch of, human imperfection to the whole structured process.
So if we zoom out, the whole path we've traced is really logical. Start polite and functional to minimize risk. Use the shared environment for easy, low-stakes small talk. Then, gently probe for common interests or preferences. Establish some common ground, like proximity. And only then, formalize things with an introduction.
It really is a well-designed funnel, moving step by step from stranger to acquaintance. Which brings up a final thought, maybe for you, the listener, to consider. We've spent a lot of time on the structure, the phrases, the sequence, mastering those steps, but we also talked about that crucial operational layer. The smiling, the listening, the tone, the soft skills.
Yeah, considering how vital those nonverbal cues are, the smile, the active listening for making this script actually work. What stands out to you about the real weight of that nonverbal communication?
If the script is the map, maybe the soft skills are the compass guiding you. It makes you wonder if you had to pick one to really master, which is harder, getting the words perfect, or conveying that genuine open intention behind them. Think about it, how much more do you communicate with your posture, your eye contact, your overall presence, than with any single sentence you say?
Meeting new people, it can feel a little tricky, right? Especially when you're doing it in a new language. But what if I told you there's a simple formula to make it not just easier, but, well, actually natural? Let's dive in and break it down.
So let's be real for a second. If the idea of just walking up to a stranger makes your stomach do a little flip-flop, you're not alone. That's totally normal. But the good news? We can totally work on that. We're going to build up that confidence one easy step at a time.
What we're going to do here is give you a real plan, like a blueprint you can actually use to walk into any situation feeling a whole lot more confident.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's see this blueprint in action. We're going to follow two people, Jack and Maria, who are meeting for the very first time. I want you to pay attention to how the conversation just flows, from one step to the next.
See what Jack did there? He just starts with a super simple, polite question. It's a really low-pressure way to open the door to a conversation, He's not being pushy at all, just asking if he can share the space.
And Maria's response? Just as important. It's so warm and welcoming. That simple, "Please, go ahead," is basically a green light. It's a clear signal that she's open to chatting, which is exactly what Jack needed to hear.
Okay, now watch Jack's next move. This is key. He doesn't just sit there in awkward silence, right? Nope. He immediately bridges that gap with a little small talk, just commenting on what's around them. It's the perfect, neutral way to get the ball rolling.
And this right here, this is a super important step. Maria doesn't just say yes, she agrees, and she adds a little extra info. By saying she comes here often, she's basically handing Jack something new to talk about. It keeps the whole thing moving forward.
So after a little bit of that small talk, check out this smooth transition. Maria asks a question that's a little more personal, but still totally friendly and casual. It's a great way to show she's actually interested in getting to know Jack a bit more. And boom, this is the perfect time for an introduction. See, once you've made that little bit of connection, sharing names just feels natural. It doesn't feel forced. And using a phrase like, "by the way," is just a fantastic, casual way to do it. And there it is, the final piece of our blueprint. Maria gives her name back and adds that super important phrase, "Nice to meet you." It's so simple, but it's a really positive way to lock in that first connection.
All right, so we've seen how the blueprint works in a real situation. Now let's get you your own conversation toolkit. We're going to grab those key phrases from the dialogue so you can have them ready to go.
First tool in the kit, the opener. Is this seat free? This is your go-to. It's polite, it's clear, and it shows you respect their space. Seriously, think of it like the key that unlocks the whole conversation. And hey, you've got options. Is anyone sitting here works just as great. Can I sit here is maybe a little more direct, but it's still totally polite. The best part is you can just pick whichever one feels the most natural for you to say. Okay, next up, let's talk about small talk. This is like the engine that gets the whole conversation started. You're not trying to solve the world's problems here, you're just finding some common ground. The weather, the coffee shop you're in, some event you're both at, literally anything around you works. So, once the small talk has kind of broken the ice, a question like, "Do you live nearby?" is a perfect next move. It shows you're actually curious about them, and it shifts the focus from just talking about the room to talking about the person. And that's how you start building a real connection. Listen, you should never, ever underestimate the power of these 4 little words. Saying "nice to meet you" isn't just about being polite. It's a signal. It tells the other person that you actually value that little chat. It leaves them with a good feeling, and that makes a great impression.
So you've got the blueprint, you've got the toolkit. Now, let's add 4 simple but really powerful tips that are going to take your conversations to the next level.
Now, these might sound super simple, but trust me, they're game changers. Number 1, smile. It's universal, right? It makes you look so much more approachable. 2, ask simple questions. Easy peasy. 3, and this one is so important, you have to actually listen to what they say. And finally, number 4, say something nice.
Yeah, that last tip is all about showing you're engaged, that you're really in the conversation. So when someone shares something with you, a simple, "Oh, that's interesting," or "Hey, I like that too," it proves you're not just waiting for them to stop talking so you can start. You're actually participating.
And this might be the most important piece of advice I can give you. Please, don't let the fear of making a mistake stop you from trying. If you forget a word, it's not a failure. It's actually a chance to connect. You can just ask, "Sorry, what's the word for?" And I promise you, most people will be really happy to help you out.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot, haven't we? We've seen the blueprint, we've filled up your toolkit, and we've gone over some killer tips. So you know what that means. It's your turn. Time to put this all into practice.
I mean, just think about it for a sec.
You have a step-by-step blueprint. You have a whole toolkit packed with useful phrases. And you have those 4 key tips for success. You're not just going in blind anymore. You are totally ready for this.
And that brings us right to the end. So I have one last question for you. Think about the next time you have a chance to meet someone new. Maybe it's at a coffee shop, maybe at school, or at some event. Looking at all the tools we just talked about, which phrase are you going to use first?